Is it possible to live without any food? I talk about it with my guest, Richard van Bentem. Richard, thank you so much for inviting me in your home. It's a wonderful experience to be here. It's a beautiful atmosphere that you have created here. People might not immediately know it, perhaps, but we're sitting here in an old farm in the north of the Netherlands, an old traditional Frisian farm. And you have completely revamped the place, and you have brought in the natural materials, you have brought in your own ideas, your own intuition. There's so many interesting things about you that I want to know about, so I hope that we can have an interview about your life, where you've been, what insights you have gathered along the way, and what message you have for the world.
Okay, thank you. Now, first of all, you're very welcome here at my place, and I feel a little bit honored that you come here to ask me those things, and that I can tell you a bit about what inspires me. So I'm very glad that you're here.
Yeah, well, we met not so long ago, and I saw the place that you created, and I saw what you were doing here, and you almost immediately invited me for a midwinter celebration with all of these beautiful people that you're attracting, with a lot of singing and a lot of music, and I was very inspired, and I thought this man has some knowledge about life that is worth to capture on camera. So I'm very excited about what you have to tell, and how you came to be as the person that you are.
Yeah.
So from what I understand, you lived here for a long time, right?
Yeah, I live here from 1994, say over 30 years.
And when you came here, this was a traditional farm with cows and just a rural place.
Yeah, it was a suckler herd here in the beginning. I came here as a company leader, so they weren't my cows.
Right.
But the guy I worked for, he went bankrupt, and then I took over the place and the part of the cows.
Right.
Yeah, it were all limousines.
Right.
French breed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're called the limousine.
Yeah, they're called limousine.
Yeah.
Yeah, suckler cows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you told me that your connection with the animals was very different from what all the farmers around you were doing. You had a very close connections with the animals.
Yeah. But it has to do with my view on life and animals, and that you can connect in another way with your animals and with your surroundings, and so I always try to communicate with them, and after years that evolved in me, and I could rely on it more and more. I had over 200 cows. It was not a hobby farm, so I was a professional farmer.
Yes.
In that sense.
Yes.
For example, the contact I had when I saw a cow need to calve.
Yeah.
And then I walked through them, and my shed was in the middle of my shed. I had a special part where I took my cows in when they need to calve or when there was something. And then usually I walked to them, and then I told them, oh, it's good, you need to go to there and there, that place. And then I opened the gates, and they walked freely into bench,
They understood what you were
Yeah.
trying to communicate with them.
Yeah, and I could read and write with them, and most people were anxious about the breed because they are a bit stressful cows. I never had stress with the cows. They were always relaxed. And
yeah, you didn't treat them the way that normal cows, normal industry cows, let's say, are treated.
No. And I really loved my cows.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't eat meat.
Right.
And they were meat cows.
Yeah.
So that was strange, but I provide them with such a wonderful life. They could have the calves for 8 months within.
Right.
After birth. They lived in the winter time. I had them on straw, and in the summertime they go out end of April, and then they came in beginning of December.
Right.
And I have lots of land I always had around my farm.
Yeah.
So they had a wonderful life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I like to provide them. There is so much suffering in the whole animal farming.
Yeah.
So I was glad to offer just a few cows a nice life.
Yeah.
And that reflects when you treat your animals in a good manner, then they give you that back.
Right.
And it's not my purpose. My purpose was only, it's nice to have at least a few animals in this world which have a nice life.
Yeah. So you take ownership of the animals that you care about. You're not farming them as in the farm machine that we have gotten used to as in living, but you're taking personal ownership for what you're doing and how you're standing in life. And at some point you stopped with the farming business. You sold the land, I think, or...
Well, it was from Natuurmonumenten.
Sure, yeah, park services.
Yeah, and that the contracts, I thought I had good contracts, but it's a long story. They start to convert the land around the farm, so I lost all my land. And it was a very, very perfect timing, because I was a bit tired and fed up with the cows. And so it was a good moment to stop with my own cows.
Resulting in the fact that you now live within a nature reserve, let's say. The land that we see behind us has been given back to nature. And we were looking outside and we were seeing some predator birds flying around with your binoculars, and the transformation it has been turned into something different, but it hasn't surpassed you. You're still very much in connection with your environment.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place where I live.
Yeah.
It became more beautiful over the years after that they converted the land around the farm. More birds and foxes and badgers, and you have sea eagles here around, and so many beautiful things.
Yeah.
And it's quiet, quiet and dark.
Right, and not as much light pollution here.
Nothing, no.
Yeah, you can still see the stars here.
The whole Milky Way, yeah. It's a bright night. Yeah.
Which is rare in the Netherlands.
Yeah, it's rare in the Netherlands, yeah. There's no traffic light, there's nothing here. Yeah.
And then not only your landscape, it transformed into something different, but you transformed your house into something different as well. Your entire farm, the shed that you have, this living environment. If I look around me, I see natural forms. This table is round. Nothing is straight. It almost has like a cave feeling somewhat. Like it's hewn out of nature.
Yeah, it's all natural and environmental friendly materials.
Right.
Yeah, also the insulation. And
what inspired you to do this? Why would you take it on? Because you might say, well, it's already a good place. Why would you change it? But you really wanted it to make into something different.
What inspired me most is the beauty of the earth, is my love for the earth. And when I look around and everything is so beautiful around me in nature. And I thought, well, I have the capacity to make something beautiful. I can make what I see in front of me. And that's a richness that I want to share then with the world. Not that it's my purpose, but I love to do that. So it is nice when you can make beautiful things.
Yeah.
That's my little contribution to the beauty of the world,
Yeah.
I think, and that inspires me.
Have you always been like that?
So actually, it is. Yeah. When I was very young, I didn't understand the world. I didn't understand why people went out of the bed and do their jobs and only to earn money. Things. I've never understood that. I thought, well, is that what life's about? Well, not my life. I like to do nice things and things that make me happy. And when I was young, I've never been attracted to make a career or things, or to earn money. I've been doing kind of voluntary work in farming. I was a vegetable grower, a gardener. I did that also in a professional way, but I liked it, and I didn't earn any money with it.
Right.
But I always, well, you must do what your heart is going for.
Yeah.
And I love to be growing crops and things. So I did that for 7 years, I think. Yeah, without a income. I had a social, how do you call it? Social benefits.
Yeah, social benefits. Yeah, it's like
So,
subsidies. Yeah.
For me, that was okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you were satisfied with it. It was enough.
Very, yeah.
And then it's easy to give back.
Yeah, and to have just nice, I was also with more people and the gardening, and that's very labor intensive. It was always in biodynamic farms.
Right. So you learned a lot about nature at a very young age.
From when I was 18, I started to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I quit school at a certain moment. I thought, well, it's not my thing.
Why did you quit school?
I didn't see myself studying. I'm more a practical person, and I love to be outside, and I'm not interested in making a career. Yeah, so studying, what do you study for? I didn't see the sense of that for myself.
Yeah.
And I was very satisfied with how everything went.
And so you're 18, you are working at this farm, you quit school. Then what happened?
Well, I had a very nice time. Yeah. And I met my wife, and we were just working. Really, we worked so many hours, but it was so nice. It was so nice to grow crops and to maintain all the things and to add. It was all biodynamic, and that gave me a very good feeling.
Right.
To add things, I always thought, well, you mustn't talk about things and changing the world. And I went for a few months to the social academy.
Yeah.
And there I came across that people have a big mouth of changing the world. But when I look at them, I thought, well, you're not so different from what you're fighting at. When you want to change the world, you must do it by yourself, with your own hands. And I stopped at that moment at the Social Academy, and then I went working, biodynamic gardening, and that gave me a life sense in a way.
Purpose.
Yeah. So that was nice. to do. I had a very nice, good time, and I learned a lot, and I didn't mind to work hard. We made very long days and weeks, and all for free. I was with only social security, but I didn't matter at all. And that is why I, from young age, thought you always get what you need.
This is a trust that you had in life, or
that's a trust.
It's very profound to have this as a young person. Lots of people these days, they are in this world and they feel like, well, I have to strive for something, I have to be something, I have to achieve something. And this mindset that you had when you were young is not common today at all.
No, it wasn't fair, but I didn't notice that. That's like a fish who swims in the water isn't aware of the water.
Right.
Yeah, that was my attitude in life, and that's just one of me in the same.
Right.
So I didn't notice that actually, in that sense. I just lived that.
Right.
Yeah, and I have always really, I can give you 1,000 examples that I thought, oh yeah, wow, nice. It's just coming in on your path. I think things, and then I make plans, and I'm free and to do that, and it always comes on my path.
Yeah.
Everything I need comes, and when it's not coming, then you need to change your direction, because then it's probably not meant to be like that. And then I adjust my attitude. Yeah, and then I let it go. I think, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. And so can you tell me about some of these things that came on your path that you afterwards you're thinking of, like, oh well, that was kind of special that it happened that way?
Now, for instance, to be here, when I was young, and I always thought, well, I like to have my own farm, but that's when you have nothing, and it's very capital intensive, and I'm not stupid at, so I realized that there is a lot needed to have your own farm. And then we wrote letters to Natuurmonumenten and things, and well, yeah, you disappear underneath a drawer.
Yeah.
But around and around, I've lived in England for 1.5 years, and we came back, and we hadn't had work, and I lived in a camper van together with my girlfriend. And at a certain moment, a friend of mine, he came, he is looking for a leader to look for his cows and things, and I didn't have any experience with limousines. But I thought, well, we just do it. Yeah. And it's never so difficult that I can't find out how I need to do things.
Exactly, yeah. You be very pragmatic, and then you will figure out.
And I have very a good sense of essential things. When I look at things, and then I think, oh yeah, but it needs to go like this. So, and that's how I came here. And when the guy where I worked for went bankrupt, a few months before that, they subsidized suckler herds. And I thought, oh yeah, now is a good time to buy cows. So I bought 40 cows from the guy I worked for.
Yeah.
And I find finance for it. My father helped me, and an uncle of me helped me. And so I got a loan to buy those cows.
Yeah.
And that was at that time quite a lot of money, but it was no problem.
Yeah.
And I love to be here and to take care of those cows. And so he went bankrupt, and I could stay here with my own cows. 40 cows I bought.
Yeah.
And at that moment I had my own business.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you had to be patient for things. Yeah. And I'm patient.
Yeah.
So that's always when I thought, I like to have my own company, and it is there.
Yeah.
I always relied on that, and I always trust in that, and and this is a big thing, to buy cows without anything. I started here with nothing.
Absolutely. I mean, most farmers in the Netherlands, they're considered millionaires because you need to have at least $1 million to invest.
And it always went over from father, mother to children, and they don't start from scratch.
Right.
Only in bio or organic farming you come across that.
Yeah.
Or biodynamic farming you come across that, because they're all usually very inspired people.
Yes.
They're not adjusted to the normal way of thinking.
Yeah, but not in the traditional farming.
No. Well, and then the first year my loan was too big compared to the money I earned. So I sold again 10 cows.
Right.
That the loan is getting smaller, and I lost 3 cows the first year. They went dead. So I had 27 cows.
Right.
And from that point, I built it out without any involvement of banks and things. I just built it out, and at the end I had 200 cows.
Right.
Yeah, and that was nice and everything. Yeah, that was necessary, and I had a lot of land, and sometimes in the beginning I always said, kijk, Natuurmonumenten is a very conservative organization.
Yeah.
But they helped me also with land and things, and
I'm interested. You said you did some traveling. You traveled to the UK. You traveled.
I lived in the UK.
Yeah. You even went to India at some point, I believe.
Yeah. At a certain point, I got really tired of converting my farm.
Right.
Regulations changed every year in farming. It's the most stupid thing you can do, because farming, you can't, like breeding a good herd, takes you 10, 15, 20 years. And when they're constantly changing the rules, that's so tiring. And I came across that, and at a certain moment I changed my company 5 times in 6 years. And then there were again all kind of rules they changed, and I thought, well, I need to go out. I need to have a time without any mandatory things. And then I went traveling. To Southeast Asia and Australia, Latin America, Colombia for 1.5 years. I did that. I took my backpack and I went backpacking. I never did that before. I was so fucking scared to go. I bought a single trip to Bangkok.
A single one? So no return trip?
No return trip, no.
Just go out there.
Go out there, and it was actually not possible, because then they're not sure you leave the country again.
Right.
That's why you never can enter a country with a single trip. But I managed that. I don't know actually how I did it, but I did it. And
then you traveled from country to country, all the way to the southern East Asian areas, and
I started in Thailand. Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Philippines, Papua, Bonaire, Australia, Malaysia. Oh, that was so nice.
Beautiful places. Beautiful people.
Especially the Philippines. They were such a kind people.
I think if I remember correctly, you said that you had no plans. You just lived from day to day.
When I was traveling. I just followed my nose. And that was nice. By traveling alone, you don't need to argue about, what shall we do, and do this and that. No, I just left and I did what I liked. And sometimes I stayed for a few weeks on a spot, and sometimes I was just a day there. And
Was this the time also where you started getting involved with the practice of living on prana, or was this earlier? Or?
No, that was after that.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, I followed a retreat
Right.
for 5 days or 6 days to make a conversion to my body, that I could, like your cells are used to digest solid food
Yes.
and solid drinks.
Yes.
And after that retreat, something in your body get triggered that you can adapt light forces. You know, we are light beings, eh?
Yes.
We are energetic beings.
Yes.
What is solid is also made of energy.
Yeah, we're solidified light.
Yeah, so it's possible for us to integrate directly. We don't need solid food.
Right.
We can convert. We're like alchemists.
Right.
Our body is a kind of alchemist's entity. So we can convert light into everything we need. Yeah, and that takes a while, of course.
Yeah.
Your body is not able to do that in a few weeks or things, so you have to train that.
Yeah.
And I was able, after say 5-6 months, I felt, oh yeah, now I'm at the moment that I don't need solid food anymore. Also, we can do without water as well. We can extract water. We can make our own water, and we can make everything our body needs. Is to live on prana is the most healthiest food we can give ourselves, because you get everything in the good proportions. And so, that's nice to mention. I know it for sure, because after I didn't eat for 5 months, 4 or 5 months, I didn't have solid food.
Yeah.
And then I thought, oh, maybe I can have shortage of nutrition.
Right. Yeah.
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 And I was curious about that.
Yeah.
So I went to the doctor and I said, would you like to take some blood samples from me?
Yeah.
And then I like to know everything what you can get out of my blood.
Yes. Yeah.
So they did that, and I had no shortage of nothing.
Right.
Only a little bit of vitamin D.
Well, that's normal up here in the Netherlands.
Yeah. So for the rest, no shortage. And then I was so sure that we can convert light into food.
Yeah. And what would this show be without any of our regular sponsors? Of course, one of our main sponsors, the one that you know, is organica-cbd.com. So that's organica-cbd.com. Go there if you need your premium CBD oil or any other products that are CBD related. You want to go to organica-cbd.com. Use the code Paradigm Shift. Now, what is CBD oil used for? Well, it's for all kinds of illnesses such as pain relief, rheumatic, arthritis, all that kind of stuff. But also, if you're a female, you want to regulate your menstrual cycle, all of those issues. CBD oil is like the snake oil, and I'm the snake oil salesman, except it actually works. So recently I found out that some of my viewers have been ordering it and they've been very happy about the quality. So let that be a testimony of what the shop is that you actually don't want to buy it at. It's cbd-organica.com. Use the code Paradigm Shift. At a Paradigm Shift viewer, you get a 5% discount. So don't forget to type that in at checkout. And you're also supporting the show. You're supporting a local mom and pop store, and you're supporting yourself by having good quality products that is for your health. Now, with that in mind, don't forget it, cbdorganica.com, and let's get back to our regular programming. So I bet there's probably people watching right now, and they're maybe shocked by disbelief.
It's not a belief, eh? No, that is not a belief. That you need food is also a belief.
Right.
Yogis in India, they can do without oxygen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is how open is your mind. If you believe it's not possible, then it's not possible.
Mm.
If you believe there are maybe possibilities that we can do without, then you open it up, and then there is much more possible than we even can think. We are such a beautiful, evolved creatures. We can do without food and oxygen because everything is energy.
Yeah.
And we are energy. It's possible that we can walk through walls because everything is space. And quantum physics has proved that everything is energy.
Yeah.
A little atom, that's mainly space in between.
Yeah.
So it's possible when you do a good exercise and you are willing to give up things, then it's possible to put your hand through a wall.
You've seen this?
No.
Experienced this?
I've not seen it myself.
Okay.
But I'm sure we can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about why you're sure about that?
Because we are energetic creatures.
Mm-hmm.
We are energy. And everything around us, energy, frequency, vibration. Yeah, and when we have the good attitude and we can understand, and when we understand the vibration and energy, then it's possible for us to versmelten.
Yeah, to merge
with that.
Yeah. So what you're saying is, if we're able to adjust our own frequency, let's say for instance with this table, if I can merge my frequency with the frequency of this table, I can phase my hand through this table because the table doesn't recognize that I am something different than the table it is itself.
Yeah, and that asks exercise.
Yeah.
Say, and then convince that you are convinced that it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you don't believe it's possible, then it's not possible. Everything depends on our beliefs.
Because you keep your vibration within certain limits when you believe something is not possible.
Yeah, and that is also how I always worked.
Right.
You know, I'm autodidact.
Yeah.
I've learned myself to make furniture and things, and then people ask me when I made furniture for people on a contract or things, and then they ask, "Oh, can we do this?" I said, "Everything is possible." It's sometimes you need to look for the right ways, and there are things. It's very difficult. I came across things in making furniture that I thought, that takes so much time, and then I didn't do, but usually everything was possible.
Right.
All the shapes and things, and
I will intercut some of the things that you've created here. For instance, you showed me a door, and you said, well, this door is made in a way that traditional carpenters say, oh, you're not allowed to do it this way because it's structurally not sound. But you like to do it exactly in that way, just to show that it's possible that you can, and it still works.
Yeah, it's a very stable door.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't expect that as well, but it's just an experiment.
Yeah.
You can experiment with a lot of things, and
Again, this is the story of the conditioning. We're told that some things are not possible, therefore we don't do it.
Yeah. And I think it's nice to break out of that.
Yeah.
Everything is possible.
Right.
Look up, the richest man, the Elon Musk. How much does he earn an hour? $3 million an hour or something crazy like that?
Yeah.
That's possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
He mustn't say that's not possible. And he started also, he came from a rich family, but he earned that the last years.
Sure, but he also does it with things that other people say is not possible.
Yeah.
People said for years electric cars are not possible.
Yeah, or the SpaceX.
Yeah, or Neuralink, or
Yeah. And he is not, well, Elon Musk is a nice example of what is possible.
Right. Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not very enthusiastic about like Neuralink. I think he's a dangerous man.
I mean, it's one of those technologies that can be very dangerous in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
But it goes to show that it is possible.
Yeah. And that's the only thing what counts now in this conversation.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Everything is possible.
Yeah.
When I didn't believe that everything was possible, I couldn't live here.
Right.
Because then it didn't came to me like this.
Right.
It is that I always believe, it's just nice to have my own farm and do this. And
so it works in a way that once you believe that the door is open, the door suddenly will appear at your doorstep. It's all of a sudden you're in front of the door because you have attracted the door.
Yeah.
And then you can walk through it because you've always believed that it is there. You've always believed that it's possible.
Me,
Yeah.
And that counts for every person here on earth. It works the same way. When you think, it's nice to have this job, that job, and then it's there.
Yeah.
When it doesn't come to you, it's because you block it. You have an inner blockage on it, or you believe you're not worth it, or we have such a lot of negative thoughts about ourselves, which are blocking those things.
Yeah.
So when you come in a vibration that you love yourself more and you think, I'm worth it. I'm worth to have a nice house, and I'm worth to have a good surroundings, and I'm worth to have a good life, because everybody is meant to have a good life where you can be happy.
So what is it about us in our modern day life that we seem to be blocking our constant progress? Because if everybody would live with this philosophy, then the world would be filled with abundance, opportunities, all of these things that seem to be naturally prosperous.
Yeah.
And yet we live in a world that is based on a closed mindset of thinking in shortages. And how do you look at this world, and what do you see as the solution for our world?
Yeah, that's. I think first where we need to start is accepting the way it is. That there is poverty, and that we have blockages in ourselves, and that we just take that in account. And the way it is needed. That has something to do with our awareness. Our awareness of things is so incredible small. The most intelligent people, compared with the absolute intelligence which exists, that's also small. We are not even aware of the processes in our own cells and in our own body. We could have that awareness, but we are a very unaware people of lots of things, and that's not
it's not a judgment.
No, it's not a judgment. It's like you have chess players, and when you start to play chess, then you need to learn how to move all those things. But the master in chess, there's so a big difference when you have that mastered. And that's also with awareness. We are just like small children in our awareness. But when our awareness grows, you get a bigger overview of what is good and how the society had to evolve. There are many different levels in that. And now that's why, yeah, a solution, I think, yeah. The things are just the way they are.
Well, maybe not a solution, but an evolution.
Yeah, but that is only what we can hope for.
Right.
Everything starts in the here and now, and take it as it is. When you are living in poor circumstances, that's where it starts.
Right.
But it's not that you need to stay in that for whole your life.
Right. So would you say that the poverty is on the inside?
Sure.
Right.
Sure. Everything what is in the outside of your own life, your car, your house, the children, the conflicts you come across, that's everything is a mirror from your inside. And when you look at it like that, then you can look at another way to your life. And when you're not satisfied with your life at that moment, then it's important to go inside. Look in yourself, from where are my blockages and why is that come across me? To point to the outer world doesn't help you, never, because you can't change what's around you. You only can change what's around you when you make a change in yourself.
Yeah.
And I think it would be nice when we realize that more and more, and there are more people who realize that.
Yeah.
The only change we can make is the change in ourselves. And when we make a change in ourselves, the environment will change.
Yeah.
When we start living in love and with compassion and empathy, then the world will change automatically. But you have to do it first yourself. I can say, well, agriculture, like they just, which is here now, is horrible. Yeah, okay, it's not nice. I'm getting sometimes very sad how they treat the world.
Yeah.
But it doesn't help to kick against it. You can only do things about that by doing it yourself.
Right.
Show the world how you like to see it.
Yeah.
In your hands and not by your mouth, because that is of no value.
Yeah.
They only can argue about and things, and show the people what you like and do it yourself. And sometimes that takes a lot of effort, most of the time. You know, it's much more simple to make some things straight. But do you like that? Well, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
So I took the hard part, like I like to be when the things are curved and things. So that's much more difficult.
Yeah.
And that's the choice. That's the choices I made always.
I'm inspired a little bit by the story of taking ownership of what is inside of you. And I don't know if you ever heard of the story of Alexander Solzhenitsyn.
No.
He was I think he was an intellectual living in communist Russia. And at some point he was, all of the intellectuals, they were part of the bourgeoisie, and so he got arrested. And he was sent to the Gulag camps, where people had to work, and
in prison ship.
Yes,
yeah.
And I think he even was a communist at first. He even was someone who was in favor of the communist system.
Yeah.
And at some point, when he was in prison, he tried to convert his fellow prisoners to become a communist too. But then eventually he saw that what he was living in, that it wasn't healthy, it wasn't good, and his reality caught up with his intellectual mind.
Yeah.
And at that point he started doing an exercise where he saw all the tragedies around him and he saw that he had no influence on them. And so he started writing about all of the things that he personally had done in his own life that had contributed to the situation that he ended up in. And eventually it resulted in a book, and that book was one of the most instrumental books in the fall of the communist Russia ideology. So that's a very powerful example of how one person can have the initiative of the falling of such a tyrannical system just by looking inside. We clean everything out. We put it all out on the table and say, okay, I've been wrong, I've done wrong, and all of these things have contributed to this, and I don't want to do that anymore, and I want to do something different. And that can be such a powerful release, such a force for good in what people then afterwards can create in their own environment. I think it's such a beautiful example. It came up when you were speaking earlier. I thought it might be nice to put that on the table. So
we can, as an individual, we can be so powerful when we live what is inside of us, and when we can look at Nelson Mandela in India, how is he called? From Gandhi. And so and Mother Teresa and those people, they are so powerful, and that's, but they're good examples.
Yes.
But we all have that power.
Yes.
You have it, I have it, your neighbor has it. We all the people on earth have that same power in us.
But what are we creating? What are we putting our energy in? What thoughts are we having? How is our inner world? What is it looking like? And
what is inspiring you? And do you listen? Do you listen to yourself? Or are we just looking to our neighbors and having? Are we attached to all kind of outer things, like the car we ride and how important that is for you? And it's okay, everything is okay. Everything every person does is always in line with his evolution. There he is free in. That's the basic of our existence, is freedom. Freedom of choice. Freedom of evolution, that you can choose the things which feels good. And no one has actually an insight in the other person. You don't know what is good for me.
No.
I don't know what's good for you. I only know that you have to make the choices which feels good for you. And I have no judgment of the choices you make. The only thing I always think, that's probably in line with your evolution. That's what your soul needs to come across. And it can be the most fun thing that you think, oh, I never should do that. But we are all different people. And I can judge what is good for another. So support every choice a human makes. Is important to support that, because it's for his evolution. And we are not able to see what is good for another. We are not even able to see what is good for us. I'm always looking and searching for, is it such a good thing for me? Or, in the last times I don't do a lot of sports and I've did that. And then I think, is it so good to always do it like that? Or we're not even able to eat what's really healthy for us, because we have not the knowledge what are good combinations. We don't have the knowledge for ourselves even what is good food for us, because what is good for you to eat can be kind of poisoning for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, you need to search for yourself what is good.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, that's such a process of looking and being with yourself and leaving all the judgments about others.
Yeah. 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 And balance is very important, because whenever you're searching, whenever you're looking for and you're experimenting out into the world, often what people forget is that they have to be centered, they have to be balanced at some point to understand, this is what is resonating with me and this is what is not resonating with me. Some people, they constantly dive from, okay, this is the newest thing and I'm gonna try that, and then they're gonna this is the newest thing and then they're gonna try that, and they jump from thing to thing, but they never come back to themselves and understand, okay, what have I learned from this, what have I understood from this, how is this a benefit for me, or what parts can I take with me, what parts have I studied from.
But sometimes you needed to do those things for years.
Right.
And then after a while, when he have gathered a lot of experience, then he just, or she thinks after a while, oh yeah, no, I think this is now the best for me. But it's only because they experienced all those things before.
Right.
I have a friend of mine, has been in junkie for over 10 years. He lived in the gutter for a long time. He's a jewel at this moment. He does a lot of things. He came out of that, and then you can think, yeah, when you met him in the stage of that he is addicted to heroin and things, and then we have all kind of judgment. Yeah, you must like this is not good for you, and this is not good. No, how do you know if it's not good? It's his soul evolution, and now he is a very rich person because he went so deep with a lot of struggling and things, and he became a very inner rich person because of everything he just experienced in his life.
Yeah. It's not to say that we recommend heroin or anything.
No,
by saying
not at
so.
all. That is only that we don't know what is good for the other. This was just a good evolution for him.
Yeah.
So I know.
I understand your point. We shouldn't place judgment.
No.
We shouldn't look down upon people's journey just because their path is leading them somewhere else where you wouldn't want to be.
Because we don't understand.
Yes.
We usually don't understand why people make certain choices.
Yeah.
The only thing we just quickly do is have a judgment about it.
Yeah. And then we can continue because we have found a solution for the question that we have had.
And then you forget, but I don't know it actually. I don't know what's good for the other, and I don't know what's good for the world, and I don't know. You only can do it with your own limited awareness.
Right.
And I think that would be great relief when we know that we don't know it. We just don't know.
Yeah.
The world is so enormous, complex, and this person says, "Oh, you must do that," or "It's like this," and or "It's like this," and then often think, "Well, yeah." When you're a scientist, you can prove everything. When you want to prove that red is blue, then you can prove it. So it's just how you look at things. Our perspective makes how we see the world. I see the world as a beautiful place.
Yeah.
But there are many people that they say, life is hard, and look, when you sit in here, I can see also ugly things.
Yeah.
Even here inside, that I think, I could have done this differently. Or when I go to my farm and look at the back, I think, that's quite ugly. Yeah, sure, you can look at that, but you can look at the different ways.
Yeah.
Also, ugly things don't have to be ugly.
Right. Yeah.
It's just how you look at it
Yeah.
and how you grow into that.
Yeah. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's simple to say, but it has a great impact on you when you really realize what it means. When you really realize that what is in your eye, it makes how you see the world and how you interpret it. When we realize how we look at things, that it's defining our life. Because how we look at things makes how we think about things. How we think about things make how we feel about things. And that is just structured in the way we are.
It's so interesting because I'm listening to you and I can completely follow. And at the same time, I have this conversation in mind that I had a few weeks ago with Ruben Hansen.
Okay.
And he's a person who knows a lot about architecture. And we talked about why is our world so ugly? Why are we building ugly? Why is our architecture so ugly? And one of the reasons is because of postmodernism. And postmodernism, at its foundation, it has the belief that beauty is subjective. So it comes very close to beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But then as a dogma. So then as like, well, you can make anything because someone will always have a preference for it. Someone will like it. And so therefore it's legitimized to make it as such. And then we came to the conclusion, well, there's something missing with that. And what is missing often has to do with proportions. It has to do with the human scale. It has to do with all these ancient principles that that the ancient builders, for instance, would make a lot of use of. And so I'm wondering how you're looking at that, because I can follow very much with the idea that something can change in front of your eyes. One way you're looking at this in one way, and then your state of mind changes. And all of a sudden you can look at it in a different way, in a different light, let's say, and you have a different perception of it. So what is that change? What is that thing that changes our perception? Are you understanding my question?
Yeah. Yeah. We have a certain kind of box where we think in. And things which doesn't fit in the box doesn't actually exist, or they can't go into you.
Right.
Yeah. So to change, well, it has to do, what I'm going to say now is has to where we all in the beginning started about. I see the world and like those ugly buildings and the way we treat animals and the way we treat each other, and how we treat the seas and the land and things. That is a mirror for the inside of the people. The way we treat animals can only exist because how we look at animals.
Right.
When we look at an animal as a complete being which has his own needs, like a cow needs to graze around and to feel the sun and things, and it has compassion for his own calf. So, and when we don't believe that, and we just say, an animal doesn't have feelings, so that says something not about the animal, says something about the people who are taking care of the animal. Because the way they think about what the animal actually is says a lot about the people. So the way we design buildings says a lot about the inside of the people who design those buildings. I should never design such a building. I
Yeah.
think for me they are so ugly, and then I think, oh, how can you make such a ugly things?
Yeah.
And what is ugly is my perspective.
Yes.
For him, he's very probably convenient with how the building looks like, and they just are very, they're proud on what they design.
Yeah.
That says a lot about inside of the designers.
Yeah.
And you can't change that. You can't change the inside of another person.
Right.
So it says the states he is in.
Right.
That's not a judgment.
No.
There's only a
reflection
of how it is.
Yeah.
And the way the world functions is a reflection of what is inside of the people.
Yeah.
So I always think from, oh, this is just the level of the awareness on the people on Earth. When we pollute the oceans, and when we kill just animals out of greed, say,
Yeah.
that says a lot about the awareness and the love we carry in us.
Right.
When there is no love, then those things are possible. When there's no compassion, when there's no empathy, all those things appear. So the world, how it is at this moment, is just a reflection of the people who live on this earth.
Yeah.
Otherwise it wasn't possible. In my world, it's not possible that I should treat an animal and put them on a small concrete floor surface in the darkness. Then I feel I don't treat that animal the way it deserves. So I wouldn't do that. But there are many people who look very different to that.
Yeah, perhaps not too far from here. I'm looking at a farm right now.
Yeah.
And there's probably pigs in there.
You're right, that's a pig farm.
Yeah, they're on
concrete.
Yeah, rubber, everything easily hosed down.
In the darkness.
Yeah.
They never come outside.
Permanently ill.
They get all kinds of antibiotics through the food and through the drinking waters, because otherwise they are going to die.
Yeah.
When you sneeze, you come out inside such a barn and you sneeze, then they all die.
Yeah.
And that's why you need to take a shower.
Yeah.
Put on company clothes.
Yeah.
And otherwise they are getting so quickly so ill. I had a pig, I had all the animal farms you can imagine, so I also had a pig.
Yeah.
And I had it here next to my house, and she had a very, very big meadow and she could wander around. I made a beautiful shed for her, caves and things, like I make things.
Fantastic.
And she had small pigs. How do you call them? Piglets, twice a year.
Okay.
And they were they were never ill.
Yeah.
A pig can have such a big immune system.
Yeah.
We can't even imagine.
Yeah.
So good. But the way we treat those animals, they are really so quickly so ill.
Yeah.
When you treat animals like they do and they get so quickly sick, that is not a signal for the people who take care of the animals.
Yeah.
They don't ask themselves, maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
You know what they do? They see it as a sign we need to be more hygienic, to disinfect more and more and more.
Yeah.
Like the cows.
Yeah. From what I understand now is that a lot of pigs, they become infertile.
Okay.
And so they're not reproducing enough anymore. And so there's this serum that is usually it's injected, and the serum is made from hormones that they take from the blood of pregnant horses.
Okay.
And so we're already trying to engineer a solution to keep this unstable system, to keep it in place. Even though the walls are cracking down, we're still trying to support this system.
Unhealthy systems.
It naturally is already cracking down because this is not the way things are supposed to be.
No. But that also has a lot to do with awareness. If you look at nature, there is so incredible much wisdom in everything, in how everything is functioning on Earth. We don't see that wisdom.
Yeah.
And we think with a small mind, and that's not a judgment, that's just
reality.
We have a very little awareness about the wisdom which is surrounding us.
Yeah.
That is shown by how we treat our animals and how we treat the earth and how we treat illnesses. So when we don't see the wisdom which is in our body, then we do all kind of things which are against us, actually. But when we know from, my body has such an incredible amount of wisdom, like a disease, when we got the flu, there is a lot of wisdom in getting the flu that is necessary for our immune system, to update our immune system. And when we get a fever, that is the wisdom from our body to kill certain bacteria or viruses. And when we don't want to see those things, that's becoming worse and worse. Yeah. People are getting more sick and unhealthier, and then we do all kind of temporary things.
Yeah, fixes. Yeah. Put a band-aid on it. Yeah.
Fundamental. When we listen more and when we realize how much wisdom is in everything which is around us, then we can treat ourselves in a different way, and we can that can be a very big relief.
So what are some of the ways, or what are some of the practices that you would recommend to get more wisdom from nature? What is a way that you have found in your life that has given you all of this information from all of the things that you experienced? Can we share some of that with our viewers so they can have some tools? Do you have some tips?
Yeah. I usually don't have tips. My only tip is look for yourself. Look inside yourself,
right,
and where you can adapt that, because everything goes automatically. When you're at the right moment, hear the right information, and you can absorb it, at the moment you are open for it. You can't absorb wisdom or information where you're not open to it.
Right.
And the way you are open to it has to do with where you stand in your evolution. When I got involved by biodynamic farming, I was open to it because I knew, I felt the way we treat the earth is actually not the way we should do that.
Yeah.
It's not normal to pollute the oceans, and it's not normal to pollute the air, and it's not normal to treat the animals like that. And then I was open for how we could treat the world on another way, which is in tune with what there is.
Yeah.
And then you're open.
Yeah. So you were curious. You wanted to know what is the way that it is possible.
Yeah. And then you come across biodynamic farming.
Yeah.
And I'm a spiritual person, I told you that.
Yeah.
And biodynamic farming is in the basic a very spiritual way of farming. I don't know if you know things about anthroposophy.
I know some of Rudolf Steiner's work, but please inform me.
Yeah, that's how you look at reality. Uh, we have physical body,
Yeah.
and we have a life force body,
Yeah.
ether
Yeah.
body,
Yeah.
and we have a body which is related to see things and to feel things, and an emotional body,
Yeah.
astral body.
Yeah.
And then we have in ourselves, and that makes us a really individual human, a body which we call the I.
The psychological body.
Yeah, but he's steering. Yeah, but it's something different than an ego.
Okay.
The I we have in us is steering.
Right.
People who are addicted to like heroin or addicted to chocolate, it doesn't. There is his the way he can steer himself, so makes it more or less addictive. And that's a special body. That's an energetic body. We are for the most of everything. We are energetic beings.
Right.
And our physical body is just the only outer of everything.
Is the result of all of that.
Yeah, that's the result. In the biodynamic farming, you work with those bodies, and most of it you work with prana, chi, life force.
Yeah, vril.
We have an etheric body.
Yes.
And our etheric body is an energetic body where we have the chakras. Also, what does the etheric body does is that it converts the material world. Mm-hmm. So that's a big difference with a table. You know, when you split a table into elements, you know, koolstof, stikstof,
carbon, nitrogen,
then it has the same elements as in our body.
Yes.
But what is the difference that it's in our body and that it's in the table? That is that there is an etheric part in ourself which elevates the material world.
Yeah.
And it's organized the material world.
Yeah.
Our etheric body is organizing all those elements in our cells, in the kind of structures, in process. They call it also a process body.
Yeah.
It brings the material world in the process.
Right. This is a bit of a side note, but in this understanding, it's very easy to understand why people, for instance, have problems with donated organs. Like a heart that it comes from a different body that is now in another body. People don't usually realize this when they talk about donated organs. People who have organs that are donated have to take medicine all the time so that the donated organ will not get rejected.
Yeah, yeah.
It's living tissue that comes from somewhere else that is now...
But yeah, with different information.
Exactly.
It's doortrokken.
It's infused.
Yeah, with individual information from the person, which you get a kidney from or the heart from. Of that's not a part of you.
Yeah.
Say.
Yeah.
So it's logical that your body is having difficulties with organs, but that's the spiritual part, say, and that is how we not look at things.
Yeah.
We live in a materialistic world with a materialistic view, and we think we have only the outer part, and we don't take in account all the energetic parts, like the individual parts and the etheric part, and so then you come across problems.
Yeah.
The way they treat the problems is also in a materialistic way, but that doesn't solve it.
Right.
When we don't take in account the spiritual part of the world, then you don't get the proper solutions for things.
Right, you just transport the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you see it in the hospital. They don't look at where the problem is coming from. They just look at the problem I think, oh, when we put a sticker on it or a thing, or you just take away the kidney, and then the problem is solved. No, but that's not the case. You lose your kidney because of things which happened before in your life, because our body is a perfect organism. Everything, when you're healthy, everything works in a perfect way.
Right.
When it's not working in a perfect way, then you have a disturbance in your character, in your energetic fields around you, and then there are occurring problems. And in my view, I look at a disease like it's a signal from my body that I don't treat myself right. There are things in my life and in how I treat myself that there are occurring diseases. So for me, I'm just searching for, oh, what has that to say me? And that's how I think about then when I got a disease.
Right.
And now I'm very happy with have a very strong constitution. So I don't have a lot of disease, but I have my problems.
Yeah.
And I have things, and when I'm looking, then I think, oh yeah, that I have this problem has to do with my character. And it's because I repeat all kind of things in my life which aren't healthy for me, but I need it to experience it. You need to experience unhealthy thing to come across from what is healthy for me.
Yeah. Can you share some of the things that you changed in your life that you found out that they were not beneficial for the way that you were living, or some things that you're now doing differently because you had an insight?
First of all, it takes discipline to change and to look at things, and it takes some time to find out what it is. I really love sugar and sweet things, and from as a child.
Sure.
So I liked sweets and cookies and things. And, at a certain moment, I noticed I was developing diabetes. And then I came to that line.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, that's not nice. I don't want to have diabetes, and it's not necessary. It's because I love so much sweets.
Yeah.
But there is, it fits to me. Why I love sweets, it has something to tell me. That's something about my personality, that I love sweets and sweet things, and it gives me a kind of comfort. And when you eat cookie and sugar, it makes you like, gives you a good feeling.
Yeah.
At that moment.
Temporarily.
And that is also, again, connected with my past and the family where I grew in, and there were that solved kind of things, that gave me things which I didn't get from my mother or my father. Or
so there's an emotional attachment to a materialistic solution.
Yeah. And when I noticed that, and I understood it more and more, that I thought, oh yeah, that's something else I need actually. And I start to give myself that, what I needed underneath, I start to give myself that, and then I could just let it go. The amount of sweet I took in, I didn't need it that much anymore.
Right.
Yeah. As a help for my body, I changed my diet. I stopped for a very long period eating carbohydrates. So I only eat proteins and fat.
Yeah.
For a period of time, and that stopped the whole diabetes thing. So I'm not, the diabetes things is over.
Right.
In myself.
Yeah.
So I think that's a clear example of how it works.
Absolutely.
And the deeper emotions which are involved with eating and the way you eat. What you eat and what you need says a lot about your own character.
Yeah. And it's understandable as well, because I think a lot of people have this thing with cravings, sugar and
salt.
Salt, absolutely. Salt of the earth, fat.
Fat.
Yeah.
They need to have a big hamburger with a lot of mayonnaise. Then for a while they're satisfied.
Yeah, I think it often has to do a lot, like, let's say for instance, war. Like the Second World War was very prominent in the Netherlands, where you had things like the hunger winter.
Oh yeah.
And it creates trauma. It creates a thinking of not having enough, shortages, and then whenever there is something, it creates this mentality of it's right here in front of me and I need to put it in myself right now, because otherwise it will be gone tomorrow.
Yeah, or another person takes it from me. Yeah.
So we're dealing with all these environmental things that are shaping us instead of we shaping our environment.
Yeah.
That is so interesting with the prana thing, because it's a complete detachment from that. It's a complete detachment where you need to be in a state of I can create everything that my body needs. My complete health is within my own reach.
Yeah.
I don't need anything else except the right mindset.
Yeah, and that's it. And that is how you can live on prana. That's mindset.
Who did you learn this from?
Brahman Menor. You can look him up because he gives a lot of readings.
Okay. Why did you went to him?
I saw a television program and it inspired me so much, and I thought, wow, it's wonderful what you can do without food. And I've been fasting for all my life, but I started fasting like a week or 2 weeks when I was 18.
Right.
So I love to have a clean body and clean because everything we eat, and when we live in this world like we live in, you always breathe in toxin material. And when we go to the shop, there is so much toxic things around us. Yeah. And I know that, and to keep my body healthy, I used to stop eating for a period, like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I once did it for 6 weeks, and then I drink a lot, tea and things, and but it gave me always a very good feeling, and it helps with a strong immune system, and to keep a clean body is important in my life.
Yeah. Now, for the second advertisement of this programming, I have something very exciting. That's right, I have my first unboxing video. That's right, I'm doing YouTube, so we're doing unboxing stuff. But this is actually, look at that. That's Blue Earth Innovations right there, because what I have from them is, it's exciting. Enjoy the pure source of water. Look at that. I want to have, for my off-grid system, I want to have a source of water that I can vitalize and that I can purify. This is a standard to hang it on. What is this? Instructions. You get clear instructions with the Blue Earth Vitalizer. Ecology-friendly packaging. So none of that plastic crap. And then there we have it, our very own vitalizer. So I'm very happy to have this thing. It's one of those beautiful vitalizers that you can get at the shop. I'm very happy also to be partnered with Blue Earth Innovations. This is one of vitalizers. This is the cheapest one that you can get. It's for a single tap input for your water supply. So water supply gets in either here or here. I need to read the instructions for that. and then it comes out the other end, and then your water is structured, it's vitalized, and if you run it through multiple times, it is completely clean of all chemical things. You need to run a batch for like 18 hours, and then you have purified all of the water of all non-natural contaminants. And this is backed up by science, it's not a hoax or anything like that. If you want to know more about it, check my last episode with Blue Earth Innovations. It's a fantastic product. It doesn't use any electricity. It all goes by water flow and natural systems, because the Earth Vitality system is all that we need. This whole thing is filled with love and gratitude, and that's the only thing that we will need to clean up this earth. So if you want to get any products like this, go to blueearthinnovation.com, use the code ParadigmShift at checkout, you get a 5% discount. At the same time, you're helping out the show, you're sponsoring a fantastic company with fantastic products, and also you're vitalizing your own water and you're cleaning up your own water supply. So that's a 3 double whammy. So with that being said, go to blueearthinnovations.com, use the code ParadigmShift, and we'll continue with our regular programming.
So that attracted me. I thought, whoa, you can live from light. That's nice. And I've always had a deep connection in myself with my own light body.
Yeah.
So when you can put your body on that frequency, then that would be very nice. I love the idea to live from the light.
Yeah. You're not doing this anymore.
No.
You're a vegetarian.
Yeah.
But you do eat.
Yeah.
Why did you stop?
Because I came across that many inner emotional things that I thought, well, you need to first to get peace with certain things in myself. I can feel very unhappy about myself, and that gives a lot of anxiety in my body. I thought, well, when you don't eat, all your emotions are very raw. They just go in without any barriers. And what food does is it gives me a barrier. So when I come across an emotion which I can't handle very well, then the food helps me to handle it a bit better.
To digest.
Yeah. And then it gives you a barrier to stay here in this earth.
Right.
Emotionally, I wasn't in the right state for it. I need to do some things first.
Right.
Which I'm doing now.
Yeah.
At last years, I did clean up a lot of emotional things. I did a lot of breathing work, and I've done a lot of tantra things, and I did many things which are way out of my comfort zone, and that helps. And I couldn't do that when I was on prana.
Right, because you need to be very close to your own emotional self.
Yeah, and have a kind of peace with yourself, which I didn't have.
Right.
Maybe I go back on prana because I still have a pull to it. But for now, I think it's good that I do it like this. And the experience I had, just what it gave me, is a very intense knowing, not a believing, but a knowing I can do without food. And I'm an energetic being.
Yeah.
We are all energetic light beings.
Yeah.
And that I've experienced that so deep, every cell in my body knows we are energetic beings.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have that intense experience when I didn't go on prana for a while.
I see.
Yeah.
So you're hungering basically for the deeper knowledge.
Yeah, in line with who I am and where I am.
Yes.
And I know for myself, I don't have any addiction problems I just can, like, I'm very fond on coffee, to drink coffee. But when I think, well, now it's time to stop with coffee, I just can leave it.
Right.
Yeah. Smoking, I did it as a child, but I stopped just smoking. Like, I thought, I just quit. And then I quit from one day to the other.
Yeah.
I never had the craving for smoking again.
Right. Yeah.
So I thought, oh yeah, this is the right time to stop.
Right.
You just need to smoke as long as you need to smoke. Don't fight against it.
Yeah.
That doesn't help, never.
Right. Yeah.
Fighting against yourself doesn't help you.
Yeah. Yeah, people condemn themselves. People condemn themselves for who they are, what they're doing. Perhaps they're eating pizza all evening, watching shows all evening, they're putting themselves in a lethargic state, and then they notice what they're doing, and then they're condemning themselves on top of it.
Yeah.
Which makes it even worse.
Yeah.
Which
doesn't help you.
No, it makes it even more problematic.
But then it's necessary, and that's where we must leave our judgment. Sometimes it's necessary to do that for years.
Yeah.
To eat those pizzas and to do all the things which give you an awful feeling about yourself.
Yeah.
You have a certain amount of time is needed to make certain steps, to feel really awful about yourself when you again eating that pizza and you condemn yourself that you're doing that. That can be necessary, and we're not in the position as outsiders to judge that.
Yeah.
And I think it's important when we look at each other that you realize that we don't know why somebody make those choices.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just leave it. That are their choices.
Yeah.
And probably they need it to do it like that for a time, and sometimes the whole life.
Yeah.
But we don't have one life. We go from one life to the other life. Sometimes things go over many, many lives. We don't have the awareness, and we can't oversee those things. The only thing we can do is trust and rely on that there is wisdom in everything which is in your life.
Yeah.
And sometimes is eating a pizza, there can be a lot of wisdom in it from an other higher point of view.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
yeah, and I mean, I like the pizza example, because what is better than with a group of friends, all of them together, and you eat pizza together?
yeah,
It can be fantastic.
can be fantastic.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
not the pizza.
No, it's the way we deal with the things.
Yes.
And, yeah, but what I try to say is that even if you condemn yourself by doing that, there is wisdom in it.
Right.
But not from a earth point of view, but from a spiritual point of view.
Right.
We are spiritual beings which evolve, and our soul knows best
Right.
how to evolve. And we as outsiders, we don't know what's best for somebody else's soul.
Yeah.
You don't even know what's good for your own soul.
Right.
Because that asks a lot of listening to your body, and listening what is come across you, and listening from what you attract in your life, and what you push away in your life. And
so
that's difficult.
Are you a person that believes in that you make your own fate, or are you a person that has a more solid idea about predestination, maybe something in between?
Yeah, everything bit from everything. So you see, there are things in my life which I just come across where I don't have the capacity to change it.
Right.
and you just need to experience it.
Yeah.
As long as it takes.
And be present with.
And just accept it that it's the way it is.
Yeah.
Some things in life are very difficult to accept. Then it takes you years, and some things it's like. What for me is, for example, very difficult to accept is that I always have the feeling over myself that I'm not so, how do you say, gezellig?
Yeah, there's no good translation for it.
Yeah, that's a really Dutch word. Gezellig.
It means something like
cozy.
Creating a cozy atmosphere and togetherness.
And everybody's comfort with.
Yes.
Yeah. And I always, and I find it really hard to accept that for example, I don't play any instrument. And I find it always so nice, and I think it's always such a shortage in my life that I don't play an instrument. I have a beautiful hang drum, and I start playing on that, and I really did a lot in the beginning, but it doesn't continue.
Right.
I come across some lines which I can't come over it, and then and that's difficult for me to accept. That's just a part, and I can accept it more and more, and by accepting it more and more, I can see my other qualities in it. You know, there are not many people who can create the way I create.
Right.
And maybe they can, but they don't do it.
Right.
But I do it.
Yeah.
I create what I like to create, and that's a quality.
Yeah.
And I underestimate it in myself that it's a quality. Then I look for, on social part, I'm not so, well, I can play that instrument, and I'm shy when I'm under people. I'm not like a singer, I'm just not standing for things.
Right. You're not an extrovert.
No, but I notice now I'm 61, and the way I was like 10 years ago, I can't compare it anymore the way I am now.
Right.
There is a big evolution in myself has occurred. Yeah. Not because I have to do that, but because I accept more that I am the way I am. Yeah.
And so is that your path? Is that your predestination? Or did you make those things by your own choice?
I think both. I choose, I like to feel free.
Right.
And I know the things which I'm ashamed about, that's really not necessary. It's not necessary to be ashamed of anything.
Right.
I don't judge people on the things which I judge myself.
Right.
Yeah, I like to see when people are not common.
Right.
That they live their own path, and that they make their own life in the way they like doing it for themselves.
There's freedom in walking your own path.
Yeah. Because I have a very strong need of feeling free. I just put myself very often in situations out of my comfort zone. I think, it's not really necessary, and that's getting more and more, and it's getting up more natural. That I think but it's the way I am.
Yeah.
So, and that's evolving.
Yeah.
And already from a long time. And the last times, after doing a lot of breathing works and those things, mainly because of the breathing work that have laid open very deep things in myself why I didn't feel free.
Yeah.
And and that I was a lot of things I didn't accept from myself, but it was mainly because I didn't accept my beautiful side. You know, we have all people have nice things and less nice things.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And I noticed that accepting your own beautiful side is as difficult as, and sometimes even more difficult than being that you judge yourself and that you are negative about yourself and think, oh, I don't do this very good, and then I feel that you make yourself small. That feels a kind of safe. That is often more easy than feel yourself, I'm a really nice person and I'm a really light person, and I do my best and for myself, and I try to love myself and be in compassion and be empathetic, and so, but also for who I am.
For people watching, it's a nice experiment. Try doing this. So when someone gives you a compliment about what they think is worthy of complimenting, and it's a genuine compliment, try to respond without saying thank you. Just try to embrace the compliment. It's very difficult. Because a thank you is kind of like a dismissal. Right?
I
but
hear what you say.
Trying to incorporate the compliment and trying to let it sink in of what that person is appreciating is very difficult.
That is, I come across that as well. And it's what you say. You always say, thank you, and then you block it. In a certain way. To stand in your own power is difficult. We're not used to that. The whole society doesn't help you.
But there's no teaching of mastership about that. It's not embedded in our culture to feel that way. It's almost like the opposite is embedded.
You put your head above the mowing field, or how do you say it? And they chop it off.
In Australia, they call it the tall poppy syndrome. If one poppy grows tall, they snip it.
That is how we treat ourselves, zeg maar. And this is how we treat, how your parents treat you.
Everyone is afraid for something that is placing you outside of the herd. And therefore we're trying to do everything to camouflage ourselves to try to fit in the herd.
And that's so actually it is better and it is more natural to look at each other. Oh, we are all so different, and that's where we are equal. We are equal because we are different. That makes us equal, not more or better or nothing of that. We are equal because we are different. And it is so nice when you look at that and see the difference between all human beings, and to appreciate everybody's qualities. So that makes life.
Would make a nice T-shirt. We're all equal because we're different.
That's a nice quote. Eh?
I might steal that from you.
It's okay.
All right. I think it's a nice place to end this interview. Risha, thank you very much for having me here, and thank you very much for talking to me. It's been insightful, and I'd love to hear more about your journey as you continue to live on prana again, and to continue the breath work. I'd love to hear more about it if you have something more to say at one point.
You as well. Thank you. Very much. It was very nice.
All right. With that said, thank you guys all for watching. If you really like this video, please don't forget, we need that thumbs up. So click it. And also, if you're not subscribed, click the subscribe button, because yeah, we're starting to get momentum here, and yeah, we need all of you guys out there who love this kind of context. Just be part of the paradigm shift. So click that subscribe button. Also, if you want to support the show, don't forget to visit our sponsors, organica-cbd.com. And also, if you don't want to see all the advertisements and you do want to watch the show, then there's a Patreon account where you can watch all the episodes without any advertisements. So go to patreon.com/paradigmshift for you. All right. And with that being said, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.